Ever wondered what an ISA actually is and whether you're missing out? Whether you're saving for a house, your future, or just want to grow your money tax-free, I'm breaking it all down in this video. No jargon, just simple, clear advice so you know exactly which ISA is right for you. Hi there, lovely people. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. Today we are talking about a much requested topic, which is ISAs. ISAs are those magical little accounts where you can save your money tax-free and start to make some real growth on your finances. So whether you're new to saving, investing, or you just want a little bit of a refresh, or find out how to get the most bang for your buck, then grab a cup of tea, sit down, and let's chat and let's get stuck in. So first up, what is an ISA? An ISA is an investment savings account. And there are lots of different types of ISAs, and I think it can become quite overwhelming and it can confuse a lot of people, especially when somebody is thinking, I've hardly got enough money to get through the month, let alone to start to make any savings. But with an ISA, any interest, capital savings, dividends that you make within this account is tax-free, which means that you don't have to then start sending some of your well-earned money over to the government. And that is usually one of the biggest appeals for this kind of an account. So there are four main types of ISA. First up is the cash ISAs, which is great for simple savings. Stocks and shares ISAs are perfect for investing. Lifetime ISAs, LISA, ideal for first-time buyers or for retirement. And then you've got innovative finance ISAs, which are a bit more niche, but are still worth knowing about. So first up are cash ISAs, and this is a great starting point. Think of them like a savings account, but with no tax on your investment, so it's a win-win. When you're doing your research into a cash ISA, it's really important to compare the interest rates, much like a normal savings account, where if you opened a bank account and it comes with a savings account, you should be looking at how much money you get back off that. How much are you going to get paid for every single penny or pound that you leave with that bank? It works very much in the same way. No two ISAs are going to be exactly the same because some people have got different incentives. Banks want you to stay with them, banks want you to move over to them. So there's always that sort of fight for the best interest rate, and you need to make sure you're doing your research to find the best one for you. Some great places to start are moneysupermarket.com and the comparethemarket.com as well. So sites like Money Supermarket and Compare the Market are great for you if you're a beginner, and they're going to be your best friend to hold your hand all the way through this if you are unsure. They talk in layman's terms, make it really, really easy for you to understand, and give you some suggestions along the way as well. Now, the other cool thing to note about ISAs is that if you're planning on making savings, and usually it means that you're locking your money away for quite a set amount of time, maybe it's 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because you're saving up for something quite significant. The longer that you agree to lock your money into an ISA for, you can usually get a better rate. And also, if you agree not to take any money out during the year, you can again get another better rate. If you do decide you need your money out halfway through a year that you've invested in, you can usually do it, but it will come with a penalty. So make sure you're doing your research, make sure you're aware of how much your money might drop by or how much your interest rate might drop by if you decide to take money out halfway through an agreement. So if you are locking your money away, make sure you are confident in keeping it in that place so that you are not penalised. On top of this, if you have got an existing ISA, which I recommend you review every 12 months, if you are prepared to move over to another account, quite often some suppliers will offer a bit of an incentive. They want your money, they want you to invest with them, so they're going to give you extra things. So free money, yes please, win-win. So let's put it into an example. If you've got £3,000 and you're investing it into an ISA at a rate of 3.5%, which is relatively low, there are definitely high ones out there, but we're just going to do this example just for now. At that interest rate, you will make £105 tax-free. So that's not too bad for doing pretty much nothing, right? That's just your basic starting point. So if you're prepared to just lock your money away for a year and be happy to get it back in 12 months' time, and then you can just forget about it if you really wanted to, then that is a great way of making the extra cash. If you continue to do this year on year on year, this is the best way to make compound interest and just watch it grow. Next up is stocks and shares ISAs. Now this is a brilliant option if you're thinking longer term. So we talked about the cash ISA, which where I said as after 12 months you could maybe take it out, but a stocks and shares ISA, it follows the stock market. So you should be prepared for a few heart-stopping moments if the market changes or drops, but ultimately on the whole, people have always seen a really good investment on there as long as they're keeping their money in the account for a long period of time.
So your money gets invested in things like shares, bonds, funds, things that can make your money really grow. And it can grow much faster. However, as I said, there can be some risks involved. So sometimes people like to start out with the cash ISA because it's a bit more guaranteed and it's consistent and regular and you know what to expect. Stocks and shares can go up and down. Top tips for investing with stocks and shares would be to start small. £50 a month is quite fine for starting out because even £50 a month will start to add up over time. Another tip would be to diversify. Literally do not put all your eggs in one basket because this is where you might find a tricky situation arising. You can spread your money across different investments. There are some stocks and shares ISAs that will actively do this for you. So you put it into a certain account and then they will diversify your money across different platforms to make sure that you are getting a really good chance of a good growth really quite quickly. You also need to check the fees for doing this. So there are some companies like Vanguard, Fidelity, Nutmeg, which have got a relatively low fee cost for this, but ultimately your reward will outweigh whatever the costs are. But those are some great places to start. So let's put that into real terms. If you have £5,000 that you're going to invest, and because it's stocks and shares, the interest rate tends to be a little bit higher, and you might get 6% return on your money. After 5 years, having just put that £5,000 in, you could get a potential return of £6,744. All that extra money, £1,744, for doing nothing. That is not to be sniffed at. Now let's talk about LISAs, lifetime ISAs. If you've been on this channel before, you will know I sing the praises of lifetime ISAs because if you are someone who is interested in buying your own property or retiring at some point, this is the best possible return that you will ever get. So with a LISA, you can save up to £4,000 a year and the government will give you an extra 25% of whatever you save. So if you save £4,000, they're going to give you £1,000. It is a great way to save for your first home, and the idea behind it is to help people get onto the housing ladder. And if you're not wanting to buy your first home, if you've just already got your own home and you're further along the ladder than that, but you want to start saving for your retirement, it does exactly the same. Now bear in mind there is a 25% penalty if you take that money out for anything other than buying your first home or retiring. If you're wanting to save or invest for something else, use the cash ISA or the stocks and shares ISA. This type of ISA should only be exclusively for buying your own home or for retiring from 60 on. So let's say you did this for 5 years, £4,000 for 5 years, that will give you £20,000. But on top of that, you would get another £5,000 from the government for absolutely free. It is a fantastic return and something that you really should seriously consider. The next one is innovative finance ISAs. Now these are a little bit different. They let you invest in peer-to-peer lending platforms. This is where your money is loaned out to individuals or businesses. Now the return rate can be a lot higher on these. However, the risk is also higher on these. And it is absolutely worth doing your research on these quite significantly, which is more than I can go into on this short video, but absolutely do your research if you think that might be something for you. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend starting here. I would make sure you're quite a bit more confident and you're familiar with where your money is going and how it can grow confidently for you before I even look at this type of ISA. So ISA tips for maximum savings. Let's look at how you can make sure your money is really growing and doing the best it possibly can. Tip number one is to use your £20,000 allowance every single year if you can. If you've got £20,000 somewhere in savings anywhere, it should be in an ISA to start with, and you can do this every single year. If you do not use your £20,000 ISA allowance by the 5th of April every single year, then you lose it. It is also important to note that you can mix and match your ISAs. You don't have to put £20,000 in just one account. You can put it over several different accounts. You can have some in a cash ISA and some in a stocks and shares ISA. That is absolutely fine, as long as you do not exceed that £20,000 allowance each year. And as I mentioned earlier, if you transfer your ISA between different providers, you can quite often unlock better return of saving rates. So whenever the 5th of April rolls around, make sure you're doing your research. Everybody knows that this is when people are going to be looking around. So that's probably when you're going to get your best deals, is around the beginning of April. So I want to give you a bit of an example of someone called Lisa, who I knew in Manchester. And she started off her savings story with just £50 a month. She put it into a cash ISA, and after 3 years, she transferred her balance then to a stocks and shares ISA. So she found her feet with the cash ISA became familiar with this process, realised it was a good way of saving, and once she was confident, then moved it to the stocks and shares ISA. This meant that she got a better growth on it, a better return rate on it, and because she was used to the system by then and she was comfortable with it being locked away and not needing it, she started to see a real growth. So fast forward another 5 years, and by now she's got £7,000 in her stocks and shares ISA account, which has been enough money for her to be able to take her family on her absolute dream vacation. So even though she only started off with that £50 a month, it has meant that those small steps, those small changes has made such a massive difference to her life and her choice and the things that she was able to then do. And so there you have it, ISAs explained in a nutshell. So whether you are a saving superstar or you're only just starting out, there is absolutely an ISA out there for you. Also remember, it is not about having loads of cash to invest. Think about the Lisa story. It was like £50 a month and it made such a big difference. The key here is to be consistent and make your money work smarter, not harder. If you found this useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along for more tips and hints just like this one. You can find me over the usual platforms, TikTok, Instagram and Facebook, as well as here on YouTube. And if you do subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss a single video just like this one. If you have got any other ISA questions, drop them in the comments section below and I'll do my best to try and help you answer them. Have yourself an amazing day and I'll see you really soon. Bye.